Hey, thanks for pressing play. Welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. Yes, Jamsters, this one counts. Season opener for the Phoenix Suns. The Intuit Dome, the wall, the screen. What Steve Ballmer has built over there in Inglewood, California, looks like an alien's nest. And that's where the Phoenix Suns kicked off their season, in the house that Ballmer built. And you know what? 4 quarters just wasn't enough, Matthew. They had to go to overtime, but the Suns pull out of dub. They win 116 to 113, and our Phoenix Suns are undefeated on the season.
Yeah, that arena didn't work. So time for a new plan. Time for some more scouting. With Kawhi Leonard missing, basically probably going to be the rest of the season. Who even knows? It was up to James Harden. He did the best he could. But the Suns, man, they came in there, wall or no wall, didn't matter. They took the victory. It was definitely a lot of stress for the first game, but
yes,
basketball's back. So I'm super excited, man.
I'm unbelievably excited that basketball's back, and we return to overreacting to the Phoenix Suns, because that's what we're going to be doing on every single Suns Jam Session podcast, right? It's something we talked about when we did our jammies last night, that when you go through an 82 game season plus the playoffs, you're going to have 82 different chapters of a story. And each one of those stories are going to give you insight into what this team is and who they are and where they have opportunities to get better and where they have strengths that need to be continued to be, fan those flames, if you will. Shout out to Justin and Paul on that one. And there's things that we definitely have to talk about when it comes to this game, because I don't think that anybody thought that this was going to be a tough fought battle. When you, as you mentioned, Matthew, no Kawhi Leonard, they've traded Paul George, they've reset this Clippers team, they've given them a new logo, a new jersey, a new arena. And man, it wasn't an easy game for the Suns when we thought it should be.
No, it wasn't, but it is game one of the season, and there are a lot of people that might go the way of, hey, I have a lot to fuss about and a lot to worry about with this team, but it is game one. But honestly, I'm not doing this year, because we were worried about being too worried last year and it ended terribly. So if I am worried, I'm going to let you know. And I'm going to be worried 82 games this year, and it doesn't matter. Okay.
All right, Aaron Rodgers over here. He's just like, relax, man. Well, if you want to relax,
I think I'm saying opposite. I'm not going to relax.
I'm going to have a couple beers so I can relax. But a reminder, everyone who's watching, whether you're watching live or listening later or watching later, hit the thumbs up button. Support the show however you can, and that's the best way to do so, is simply by watching. And if you hit the thumbs up, great. And if you go to Apple and you give us a 5-star review, thank you for doing that. In fact, we have a new review, and I wanted to read right here on the pod. Nice. It says it's called Adorable, and it's a 5-star review written by somebody named So Says Jay. It says 5 stars, adorable. So thank you for that, So Says Jay. Another thing I wanted to remind people, if you have a chance to do so, Dave King's Brightside Night is going to be coming up once again this year. It's going to be January 9th against the Atlanta Hawks. $15 sends a kid to the Suns versus Hawks game. If you want to donate more than that, starting at $30, you're going to send multiple kids to the game. You're going to receive exclusive discounts for future Suns games. If you want to send up to 10 kids or more, you're going to get 2 upper-level tickets to the Suns game and a Dave King's Brightside Night t-shirt. And the first 25 donations of 10 plus will participate in an exclusive pregame Q&A session with the Suns front office executive. So if you get a chance, visit the link in the description below. Donate to Dave King's Brightside Night. It's going to be a fun thing that we're going to be doing again this year with Dave in mind, knowing that he's not going to be here. This is going to be the first one that he's not going to be around for. So, to Dave King, to the Phoenix Suns winning, pop them if you got them. I grabbed 2 beers. I might be drinking a lot of these tonight. Let's talk about this game, Suns fans. Game 1 of the season, the Phoenix Suns go to LA and they beat the Los Angeles Clippers by a final score of 116 to 113. Which brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask. The Intuit Dome, brand new arena. They've got this huge screen that goes like all the way around the inside of the arena. And I wonder, do you think players can see it when they're shooting that screen? And if so, should the Clippers, when the opposing team is shooting on that end of the floor, just show pictures of people's butts?
Yeah, definitely butts, but also dropping it low. I think a lot of the NBA players like it when people, women, whatever, like to drop it low. So if they have a bunch of butts just bouncing up and down, squatting, all that stuff they watch, I don't know. I think a lot of them watch that stuff and like it. Then it might distract them, or maybe some boobies. You know, when I was younger, I did just want the sky covered with boobies. That was what I dreamed of when I was 6 years old. So started young for me there. So that would have been also very distracting in the waves, just a bunch of naked male and female mermaids and mermans.
It's an interesting. I mean, yeah, they have all the waves going up there because it's the Clippers, and yeah, I've seen a mermaid
Yeah.
or two pop up. It might distract the opposition, but you know, in all seriousness, seeing that arena, what were your thoughts on the Intuit Dome? Seeing it for the first time.
I think it's incredible. It's one of those arenas that's now built, and then you look at your own arena. If you're Matt Ishbia, you're like, well, I got a lot of work to do. And if you're a fan, that's like the first one I've seen built where I'm like, I got to go check it out. Not just because it's in LA and it's pretty close, but it's one of those that's just like, you keep hearing about how amazing it is with the wall. I don't know if I can sit that steep. Obviously, I couldn't because I'm not a Clippers fan, but it's one of those where it's like all the access you have to different things. Just the whole fan experience seems amazing, and just to see that screen up live, it's kind of just reminds me of the dome that was built in Vegas. What is that called? The Sphere. Excuse me, the Sphere. That's one of those things where everyone traveled to see. I think this is one of those things too. You just got to be there to experience a game.
Yeah, definitely looked interesting. And like seeing it on screen, obviously we did the playback.tv for Bright Side of the Sun. So we were watching it there. So you get to see a lot of the shows that are occurring in between timeouts. I mean, Mac 10's coming out and singing and whatnot. I just want to see it from the inside because it looks like it's a very compact arena. And that's by design, right? Like they want it to feel like the fans are on top of you there. And to some extent, it worked, right? If you look at the second half, the Phoenix Suns shot just 57.1% from the free throw line, which is 8 of 14, shooting into the wall. And it's one of those things that we're going to wonder whenever we play LA, is it a real thing? Obviously, if you're a Clippers fan, you're going to notice that all the time. Is the wall a real thing? But I thought it was pretty cool. It was nice to see, and it was even better to send the Clippers home or let them stay home with a loss in their pocket after the Phoenix Suns win 116 to 113. Taking a look at this game in its totality, knowing that the Suns, 23 points in the first, 24 in the second, 25 in the third, and then 31 in the fourth, ultimately to push it to overtime, and then outscoring them 13-10 in the final overtime frame. What's your number one takeaway from this game?
I think the overall just sloppiness and sharing of the ball. So those are two different things, but I kind of just want to go with the sloppiness the first to start with because it kind of does go into sharing the ball. You did see just a lot of turnovers, a lot of mishaps in the first quarter, a lot of bad passes by the big three, mostly Booker and Kevin Durant, and also Nurkic too, just trying to run plays through him. Some bad passes, but also the fact that who's going to have the ball in crunch time, who's going to have the ball when it matters. And you saw tonight, it's going to be KD. And I don't know if that's a good thing. We will talk about that, but sharing the ball itself, the number one takeaway. What are we going to do with this fucking ball between all these players? That's exactly, I feel like we're going to talk about for the next 50 minutes is like, what is this team up to? How are they going to kind of dive into these issues and solve them before the next game, which is tomorrow? Because they got the win.
It's Friday.
But it was, is it Friday night? I thought it was back to back.
No. Saturday's
back Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought I had a game tomorrow night the whole time, dude. Oh,
boom.
wow.
How great do you feel now?
That sucks. I'm just joking. All right. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Well, I agree. And it's easy to go to the negative. And I guess I'll start with the positive, then we'll transition to the negative, and then we'll probably come back to the positive. But there was direction on this team. And I thought that was something that we obviously lacked last season. Tyus Jones looked amazing in this game. And you know what? I think that's going to be where we're going to start for our first drop of the official season.
Sha la 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 la. Mr. Jones and me.
So Tyus Jones, 35 minutes played. He was 5 of 10 from the field and 1 of 5 from beyond the arc. Ends with 8 assists and 0 turnovers. So 11 and 8 from Tyus Jones. And I thought that he looked great. I thought that what he was bringing to this team was unbelievably needed, something that we missed last year. I wish he had the ball more. So this is, the positive right into the negative, right? I wish he had the ball more. I wish that he was facilitating a little bit more, because we fell into some of our old traps that we had last year where certain possessions he would be just standing in the corner. And I'm not talking about possessions at the front end of the fourth quarter or midway through the second. I'm talking about in the last 5 minutes of the game when the Suns were part of this, 14-0 run that put them ahead and ultimately, allowed them to set the pace after the Clippers kind of manhandled them throughout the second half. And Tyus Jones, after running a great action with Kevin Durant, a high screen roll, finds Kevin Durant. Durant takes it down, gets fouled, does the and one, does exactly what he should be doing, dribbles it once, maybe twice, and then puts the ball in the hoop. The next 2 or 3 actions, it's KD running high isolation while Tyus Jones is standing in the corner. That's the wrong answer for this team. We experienced that too much. And I see a lot of people in the chat, they're saying that, and they're agreeing with that this is one of the things that the Suns need to be better on and will be better on. It's game 1. What did you see as it pertains to how Tyus Jones performed tonight?
I think there's a lot of trust that still needs to be issued between him and the 3 stars, mainly just KD and Beal. You can just see in the last 5 minutes, like you were talking about, where for me watching the game, I want Tyus to bring the ball up and kind of get into like a pick and roll or kind of, run a double screen like you saw a few times with KD and Nurk coming off the left side. But also the way that Tyus just needs to be trusted is just like, let's just run plays through him. KD was really explosive. I feel like when there's a lot of space around him, and you saw that a few times when Tyus would do a pick and roll with him, things would clear out in the paint, and KD had that awesome layup over Harden late in the game. So things like that will start to develop even more. But also, like, it's a lot of worry for Tyus to kind of share the ball with everybody. Like, Beal's going to be left in the corner like he was probably like 4 possessions in a row with his hands on his knees, and I'm not too sure if he's going to really like that moving forward. So that's going to be tough. That's going to be a lot on Tyus too. But also, if KD's going to be fighting that, and KD's going to be wanting the ball, which I guess you can't blame him because it's KD.
Exactly.
We're going to have to put up with this. So honestly, I'm on the side of Tyus right now just because of last year and how bad it was, where you just see how good he is on this team, and you just want more of that. You want him to have the ball, be more ball dominant, because he's going to put these guys in place and the stats will be there, and they'll cut down turnovers with the 0 turnovers tonight.
How did it feel in those last couple minutes when he was bringing the ball up? There's a sense of confidence, right? Something that we missed last year.
Yeah, no, it's with him and Monte. Like, it's the same exact thing. Like, when they're on the floor, you feel very, very comfortable. But also, like, if KD comes up to grab the ball, it's just like you kind of lose all confidence. And I think it's just because we have the PTSD from last year of just really just having that anxiety of with the ball in his hand, either turning it over or just not being able to get to his spot. And if he does, it's double coverage. So with Tyus bringing it up, just let him just kind of navigate things and not give it up so quickly.
Agreed. And I understand that every action isn't going to involve Tyus bringing the ball up, and that's okay. We have plenty of capable ball handlers who can bring the ball up court. I get frustrated if I start to see the opposition blitz those ball handlers, but they weren't doing that tonight. The Clippers were playing amazing defense, and you have to tip your cap to their hustle on defense because they really limited the space for Suns shooters tonight. They really got up in their grill and were not allowing clean shots, and that's what the Suns were looking for, was clean shots. And for multiple minutes throughout the game, they were not permitting those. But I'm okay with KD bringing the ball up. I'm okay with Nurk bringing the ball up if he's not being pressured. But at some point in the possession, it needs to go through Tyus. And if you're going to run that high isolation shit with KD on the top of the key or to the left of the key, everybody on the team needs to stop standing there watching it, because what starts to happen, the defenders can sag off of their man and then go and assist and make those tough shots for KD. James Harden was doing it regularly because he's like, well, KD's not going to pass the ball because my guy's standing right here. Now, if there's a back cut, at least you have to force some defensive action. And it's one of those things that I think, you know, we almost got some PTSD tonight in watching aspects of the Suns playing that last 5 minutes, because we were seeing so much isolation for Kevin Durant. And I'll tell you, it's not a bad idea to ISO Kevin Durant. He's Kevin fucking Durant. But at the same time, it's not the best way to execute your offense if your team is just going to stand around and watch. Do some back screens, make some movement, make decisions have to occur, allow Kevin Durant to get freed up. At the end of the day, I mean, he is Kevin Durant.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Kevin Durant led the team in scoring with 25 points. He was 8 of 17 from the field and 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. He had 7 rebounds. He had 3 steals. He had a block. But it's those 7 turnovers that a lot of people are going to talk about. And I'll tell you, I mean, they were rough to watch because so much of them are avoidable. Because when you're forcing Kevin Durant to have to be a playmaker, that's what's going to happen. The guy's 7 feet tall. Bouncing the ball from his hip to the ground and back up is a long ways, and there's a lot of opportunity in that bounce for bad things to happen. He was slipping on the court. He was throwing the ball away. The Suns, shame on the Suns for putting him in that position, in my opinion. Kevin Durant needs to be a guy who doesn't need to dribble. He needs to be like your Klay Thompson, right? Coming off the back screen, hitting that smooth, silky jumper. That's where Kevin Durant can thrive. But when you're forcing him into these actions where he has to be the playmaker, that's where bad things can happen. We saw it on a play where he was waiting for a screen, but he didn't wait for the screen to finish, and then boom, it's an offensive foul. I think it was on Royce O'Neal because he didn't get a chance to let the screen finish. Well, Kevin Durant should have waited on the screen, but he didn't. Now, obviously, this is a factor or a result of Devin Booker getting into foul trouble, Devin Booker having an off night, Devin Booker fouling out of the game. Because once Devin Booker fouls out of the game, the defense can certainly key in on him. And again, just bad form, and something that I hope Coach Budenholzer can take a look at when they sit and look at the tape and go, you know what? We had way too much ISO ball with KD in the back end of the game, and throughout the game, we had too many times where we were trying to make him the playmaker. When you bring in Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, you got Devin Booker who can play make. You got Bradley Beal who just runs so fast that he falls down. You can't do that to KD. You can't have him in those situations where he's forced to be the playmaker.
Yeah, Thunderstands does say way too much ISO, and it really was. And I don't know if that is the Suns or him just wanting to be in those situations because that's just the way he plays. And he has played his whole career, but it's just not working on this team. You have so many guys that can do so many things offensively, and the ball can move around if you just leave it up to the point guards to kind of distribute. So, like I said earlier, like he looks so good in the open space, and you haven't seen that all of last season. You never saw him with that much room a few times like tonight. Like there's a lot of things we saw tonight we didn't see last year, but that was definitely a huge one for me. But you know, this whole KD thing, it's like I saw Kevin O'Connor put on Twitter. He posted like the final shot he hit to tie the game to go to overtime.
What
KD.
A shot, by the way. Shouldn't have been in that situation.
Shouldn't have been. I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like shouldn't have been a situation and a difficult shot, which he did again later on and missed it. But you get that from Twitter from Kevin O'Connor. But those people, I'm sure he watches the games, but they don't watch the whole game and how frustrating it can be just because I think we just know what we have. We don't want to have KD do so much with the ball. It's kind of like going to dinner like with your husband. It looks so nice and clean and he's such a great guy. But then you get home, he takes off the belt. It's like they don't see that part, but we have to kind of watch that. And it's not good. You just want it to be more of just, I don't know, a little bit nice. Oh, you're on mute.
I am on mute. I'm like, yeah, we see the gut all day long. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true, you know, and that's the ebbs and flows of the game. And that's why, again, I think I leave this game the most frustrated with the fact that they put Kevin Durant in too many opportunities where he had to be a playmaker. It just drives me crazy with all the talent that we brought in to specifically negate that aspect of Suns basketball. And that's why. And Kevin Durant had 7 turnovers. And I know people are going to look at that box score and they're like, "Oh, Kevin Durant, he fucking turns." He did. They were stupid fucking turnovers, but he shouldn't have been in that situation. But again, part of that reasoning, like I said, is the fact that Devin Booker off night.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
Wasn't the worst night for Devin Booker. He was, 5 of 9 from the field and 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 15 points, 4 total rebounds, 6 assists, but he had 4 turnovers and 6 personal fouls. So, I mean, that kind of turns out to be like, 10 turnovers because, a foul is a stoppage and whatnot. And I blame the shoes, Matthew. I'm here to say it. I blame the shoes.
Yep.
Devin Booker was wearing a pair of Book Ones tonight, and they were USC Book Ones. So they had the USC red and the scarlet and yellow or whatever. Which one, I'm a Notre Dame guy, so I fucking hate SC, the University of Spoiled Children. And 2, you're in LA. Why are you wearing their college's colors? I get it, Book, and the colorways are always awesome, but I blame the shoes, Matthew.
Yeah, and it's very rude. I think that should have never happened. Should never flow with anybody in the locker room. They should have gone on to him right away, told him to take those things off.
Yeah, it's like
it was rough to watch him wearing the same red shoes as the Clippers too. Like they had the same red. All of them.
It's like, okay, we're playing Golden State next week. He's going to be wearing 49er Book Ones.
Yep.
There's
too many shoes.
Maybe he's out there just trying to peddle to the people who are in the Intuit Dome to make them maybe buy some Book Ones. It could be a genius marketing strategy, but it didn't work in my opinion. You can't make that happen.
After purchasing those tickets, it's going to be difficult to buy anything after that, especially after losing. Then your owner's just sitting there like, what the hell did I do?
What did you see from Book tonight?
Nothing. He was invisible. It's going to be it's going to be a hard thing or a weird thing to watch this year with him and Bradley Beal. I don't know what's going to happen. I know it's just an off night by him. The stats don't look great, but they look okay. I just didn't notice Book at all tonight. There was a few defensive plays he looked great at, but just the fouls, a lot of them were ticky-tacky, so I won't get on to him about that. But
but some of them were dumb.
Yep, there were the 2 stupid ones, but the one to start the third quarter didn't get his way, so then he just on the other end decided to reach in on James Harden to get a stupid foul.
Yeah.
Came back to bite him in the butt. And the stats are all right. The fouls suck, but I just think it was just a bad game. But it just has me really wondering about, Beal really did take over today. I'm just like, how is this going to happen? I have a lot of mixed feelings about this team still, obviously after one game, but I don't know how this is going to work with, KD wanting the ball as much as he wanted it. And I know because Book was gone, probably that's why it happened. But you did see in the fourth where him and KD were kind of changing turns, and that looked really great. They had that huge 9-0 run, and there were some fast breaks in there, some open shots, some lay-ins. So that was great to see, but I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings right now. Obviously, I didn't really like what I saw from Book, but we'll see where we go on Friday.
Yeah, see, I think I'm going to go the other way on this because I think that this is a good thing. Book had, a quote-unquote off night, although, again, as I stated, his shooting was good, but he was a little too aggressive. He was making some dumb fouls. He was putting himself in some bad situations. He was wearing stupid fucking shoes. And the team on the road still won because Bradley Beal stepped up in overtime, because Kevin Durant hit an amazing shot, because Tyus Jones was facilitating accordingly, because Yusuf Nurkic hit some very, very clutch free throws in the face of the wall. So I think that this is actually a good thing because it's a reminder to Devin Booker, I don't have to be on every night.
Yeah.
What made Devin Booker so successful in the Olympics? He became just a guy. He wasn't the superstar and wasn't asked to be the superstar. And if you look at how this roster is constructed, of course we want him to be the superstar. And at times he's going to need to be. But he doesn't need to be every night. And that's what makes this team special. If you look at this team and how they shot the ball tonight, Kevin Durant led with 17 field goal attempts. Bradley Beal had 12. Tyus Jones had 10. Booker had 9. And then you get a lot of balance. You get 7 from Grayson Allen, 5 from Royce, 5 from Nurk, 5 from Monte Morris, 5 from Ryan Dunn. I think that that's important. Balance is important to this team. And, for those of you who like to bet, guess what? It's going to be tough to bet Devin Booker overs like I did tonight, and I missed and failed. But it's because there's going to be balance that exists, and if balance exists and ball movement exists, wins will follow. And at the end of the day, that's what's important.
I totally agree. I think that just Book he can come in the fourth, just being almost a zero on offense and just hit some big shots, like I said, and just getting on the fast break. I don't know. There's a little bit of worry in me just with the big three right now. It's weird, man, because you want to say big three, but Tyus Jones, man, like you got to throw him in there to have the ball. So this is gonna be strange. And
but that's what's great about it.
He doesn't have to do too much. He doesn't have to do too much, but you want Book to be the best player.
Tyus can make the big three go. He's the one who unlocks him, right? That's why he's our skeleton key award winner from our jammies.
If he's allowed to.
If he's allowed. If he's
barely
allowed.
hit the over on assists there with 8. Well, it was 6.5, right?
It was 6.5.
Okay.
That was easy money today, although.
Well, it didn't went to overtime, so that's why I got the extra.
Yeah,
one.
but
wasn't it 7 at the end of 4?
It was 7 at the end of 4.
Okay.
I think so. But hey, I won money on it.
And she said, "You're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley." Go, go.
Played 38 minutes. He was 8 of 12 from the field and 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 24 points, and I think what was really important was the fact that he had 7 of the Suns' 13 points in overtime. He was 1 of 1 from beyond the arc. He had 4 free throws. It was funny watching Bradley Beal tonight because after Devin Booker fouled out, there was a possession where Tyus Jones, a couple possessions where Tyus Jones played point. There was those isolation issues that we had with Kevin Durant where he was just holding the ball for way too long and nobody was moving. And the whole time Bradley Beal's standing in the corner. And as you and I are watching the playback and we're watching it, we're like, look at Bradley Beal just stand over in the corner. Like he can't be happy right now. It's like he has to assert himself. He has to remind everyone he's on this team. And Devin Booker's out. This is your time. And what happens? Bradley Beal comes to life right at that moment in overtime. He comes in and he walks into a 3 and hits it. He attacks the cylinder and gets to the line a couple times. And he took over. And he's, in my opinion, he's the reason we won this game because 2 minutes into the overtime, he's like, oh, fuck, I'm Bradley Beal.
Yeah, it's those quick moments. Like Booker can have that. He can have that. But Beal looks so good, too, with that second unit. I think 5 points to really end the first quarter, and then he had 9 points in the third. Most of that was like just him taking over with that second unit. So it comes in spurts.
Yes.
That's why it's like you have the KD kind of slow down thing, and then you have like Booker and Beal just like zoo, zoo, zoo whenever they have the ball, get into their shot, just really stepping up in those big ballsy threes. But Beal like has to kind of sit out and watch it. And then you can even see Tyus like when KD had the ball like 3 times in a row, 3 possessions in a row where he's just kind of working his own thing. Tyus has the ball next on the 4th possession, and he kind of forces it to Beal because he can tell that Beal's in the corner like, hey, I need a chance at this. And when he comes back in or when he's still out there and he actually has his chance at the ball, he hits some big shots, man. So that's huge. And someone's talking about in the chat about his feet or his ankle. So I didn't see anything about that. So I don't think that's.
Well, he tripped a couple times and he was limping around.
Okay, so. I didn't notice the limp or anything. So that's a good thing I didn't. I didn't want to even see that in the chat because I want to sleep well tonight. I don't want to worry about Beal.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Beal is the way he plays is so herky-jerky and aggressive that he always, and that's why he's so injury prone. He doesn't play with fluidity, I would say. I see Rao in the chat or Raw. And I got to, shout out to Raw. You've been trolling since the solar panel days. I know Dave King, you were the bane of his existence. And you've said this comment like 10 times. Oh, yeah. And you've said this like 7 times. I don't know why you need to continue to repeat yourself. But for those listening and you can't see, it says Beal needs to come off the bench. So here's what I want to say about this. I don't disagree. But I'll say this. If you watch the game tonight, you'll see that he played a ton of minutes with the bench players. The way that Mike Budenholzer is staggering his minutes is he's starting him. He's the first to come out, and then he reinserts him when the bench players are in there because he wants that consistent and sustained offense. And that's what Beal did. That's why Beal shined when he shined, is he became the guy amongst the bench players. So this isn't hockey. We're not doing full-on line changes. Don't know if you've watched basketball, but they don't do, all right, we're subbing 5 in and we're subbing 5 out. No, they do gradual changes. They do matchup-based changes. And that's one of the strategic things that Mike Budenholzer did. And you know what? If he was purely a bench player, by that logic, then guess what? he would not be playing in the fourth quarter because that wasn't when the second team unit was in, right? And the Suns would have lost this game. So I think that the way that he played with that second team unit, as you mentioned, is something that's going to be really key for the Suns this year, because he is going to provide that steady offensive talent amongst those rookies, because the rookies were playing tonight. We'll get to them momentarily, but seeing them out there with him, him dictating the offense along with Monte Morris, who looked great as well. I thought that it showcased our ability to have Beal come off the bench, or I'm sorry, go and play with the bench players and be effective.
Man, tonight, what Beal really brought, like I said, those little spurts, he was just kind of really just disruptive out there at times, but also just getting to the rim and finishing. That was the biggest thing. That's the one
Yes.
thing
It's
Bud
good to
always talked
see.
about. Just finish at the rim. Like he took it was in the first quarter where it was a pump fake and he got his way to the rim and actually finished. In the past, he would probably back out, and maybe it was the second quarter, he'd probably back out or pass out of that, but he finished hard at the rim. And you want to see that. And it feels different. Like I know someone was talking about his ankle, but I don't worry about the injury stuff with him. He looks really good out there. He looks fluid. There's a few times when it looked like he kind of like jerked his knee the wrong way, but he was fine. He just kept moving. He didn't think about it, just kept going. So if he can stay healthy, man, like I'm not saying he's gonna be better than Book or anything like that, but he can be a real true leader out there. Like the Suns need. We saw that to end the last season where he just stepped up in like the last 10 games and was a real leader out there. And he can get into it with officiating, and also he can just play. He can just walk the walk, man. Like he is actually doing that. He does a lot of talking on the court, off the court, very happy dude, but also on the court, man, he's serious business, and you can see his game at full scale tonight. I felt like.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree necessarily with the fluidity standpoint, but he can get to the rim and it looks nice. And the team needs that. You need somebody who can penetrate, put pressure on the defense, and ultimately that's going to open up shooters, and they're going to knock them down.
Yeah, that was a ChatGPT fill-in right there.
Oh, got you.
Yeah,
just put it in there, see how it works.
Yeah.
Word.
Delicious definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Nurkic tonight, only 22 minutes played, which kind of makes sense. He was played off the court during stretches in this game, which I'll talk about momentarily. But 2 of 5 from the field. He finished with 11 points because he was 6 of 8 from the free throw line, including hitting those 2 massive free throws at the back end of the game after James Harden had a chance to tie the game in regulation with hitting 2 free throws. He missed one. Nurk grabs the rebound, gets fouled, has to go down the other way, hits both of those free throws, puts them in a tough spot. And the issue with Nurk is going to be, it's going to be there all year. Certain players know how to take advantage of opposing defenses, and Nurk is somebody who's going to play drop coverage nearly every time. And James Harden is one of those guys who is a master at navigating the pick and roll, getting to a specific spot. If he's blitzed, he gets out of it or passes out of it appropriately. If drop coverage occurs, he's going to get to a certain spot right about the free throw line and just stroke it all day long. That's what he did. He did that about 2 possessions in a row. The third one he passed on one of the ugliest pick and roll defensive assignments I've ever seen by Nurkic. And good on Budenholzer, he just pulled him. He's like, all right, we're going small ball 5 with Kevin Durant. What did you see from Nurk tonight?
I don't know. It just wasn't pretty. There was too much Nurk in the beginning, a lot of Nurk, but I think that's just kind of nervous. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing and trying to figure out what to do. And Nurk just ended up with the ball at the end of every possession, trying to work his Euro step where the last step does end with like a twisted ankle, but
it's ugly.
it gets the job done, I guess. No, actually does not get the job done. It's just one of those things where you think about the depth, and we'll talk about Oso, but you just have to look at Plumlee and Oso, be like, we got to count on these guys to come in, and hopefully Oso develops into something where he can play small ball 5. But when they go small, I do like it, because I was always so mad last year when we'd always play to what the other team was playing. The last 2 years,
yes,
it was like, Monte Morris, Coach
Monte.
Yeah, that old Monte. I think that thing has to go away with a team like this that's built on a big 3 like Kevin Durant, Beal, and Book. Like, you can play the small ball. Let's see what it looks like. Like let's not play because Zubac is out there where we have to adapt to them. Let's just play our own game, play small ball. See how that works. It wasn't too bad, but it is kind of worrisome too, because Nurk's gonna be played out of games, like he said. So it's just like we have to rely on, I feel like, Oso even more. So he had a good night tonight, obviously.
Yeah, well, and what they decided to do in the back end of the game is they went small ball 5 with Kevin Durant, and it worked because he can blitz Harden, and he is long enough and athletic enough to deter the shot. Now, to Harden's credit, who nearly went for a triple-double tonight, I think he went for 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. He was still hitting those shots over Kevin Durant. So it was like there was nothing you could do with Harden as he was on a heater. All you can do is take care of your end of the ball or your side of the ball offensively, and the team did that. So, Nurk, he did what he was supposed to do. Like I said, the 9 rebounds tonight, it was kind of choppy, kind of ugly at times, but he hit a 3. I was with it.
Bounced in.
His first 3 bounced in. It was not
not
pretty. I do want to talk a little bit. I see some of the Jamsters. And again, thank you everybody who's hanging out with us. Truly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button.
Yes,
but just thanks for hanging out with us. I do want to talk a little bit about Grayson Allen. That's going to come right after this break for our listeners. But you're a watcher, so 35-45, somewhere around there. I just got to remember that.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, Grayson Allen, a fortunate guy.
I just want to go down to the malt shop and have a malt.
Yeah.
I
want to wear those, what are those, poodle skirts?
Poodle skirts and my leather jacket and sing songs everywhere I go. Grayson Allen, 21 minutes. He was 2 of 7 from the field and 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. Ended with 8 points, had 3 assists, a couple personal fouls, had a steal, a turnover, a block shot. And I saw Jay in the chat. He's like, well, why is Grayson Allen not getting any minutes? Well, I mean, 1, he had 22 minutes. 2, remember that he's coming off an Achilles injury. And 3, damn, he looked jacked out there, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked too big. What a menace. When he came out, I'm like, I forgot about Grayson Allen. I'm like, damn, this is awesome. But then he was on the floor. I'm like, Grayson Allen, is that all we have? Like, I'm not like, I don't know. It's just one of those things I always do every year. There's always these guys I get excited about. And then I'm like, damn, that's all we have if our big 3 isn't playing. But he looked pretty good on his shots. I love his hustle when he first came out. I think he was really trying to body up some guys, grab some boards. They didn't grab them, but he was just kind of helping team rebounding, which is exactly what we need this year. But I love the hustle, always getting to his spot, ready for a wide open 3. But it's one of those things, 22 minutes, that's good. But like I said earlier, you got the big 3, Tyus. You get to put Grayson Allen there, even Royce O'Neal. So it's a lot of like, who's gonna stand up, who's gonna get the most minutes.
Problem.
It is good, but it's like, who's going to hit when it matters? And I think Grayson Allen can definitely be that guy. But tonight, it just was not the best performance. But we're going to get a lot of great performances this year.
Yeah. So. And again, like the only guy who was on the injury report today was Josh Okogie. Do you know how rare that's going to be that just one guy is on the injury report? All these guys got some play tonight. And kudos to Mike Budenholzer for playing, 11 guys tonight? I love that because you have the guys right now. They're healthy enough to do it. So get them some minutes, get them some play. And yeah, not everyone's going to hit, because if they did, we'd have more than 116 points after playing an overtime game. But seeing Grayson out there, seeing his physicality on defense, because that's one thing I'm keyed in on this season, I'm going to continue to watch, is how physical is he going to be on defense with that new body? How fast is his lateral quickness in trying to get in front of people who are trying to drive by him, and can he physically move them off their spot? Because that's all you have to do to Kevin Durant, right? If Kevin Durant starts driving, you just push him a little bit, and it's going to throw him off. Now, KD is an expert at being pushed off his spot and hitting a tough shot, but the majority of people who are driving on people like Grayson Allen aren't Kevin Durant. So if you can get away with a little push as they're trying to drive to the rim and deter their shot, make them, either flail or have to shoot a fadeaway, that's going to work in your favor. And because he has that big bulkiness to him, that incredible bulk that Grayson Allen's rocking, you have to take advantage of that. So didn't like everything I saw relative to shot selection from him tonight, but Grayson Allen, there's going to be better games ahead. Now, we've come this far, and we haven't talked about the rookies. And I'm going to talk about the rookie who scored first in this game.
Oh. You know what I'm talking about.
Oso Ighodaro. That's right. Oso scored before Ryan Dunn did in this game. Oso ends the night 1 of 1 from the field, Matthew. He only played 12 minutes tonight and ended with 2 points, but he had 6 rebounds in this game. And I thought the little things that he's doing in his rookie debut fortify what we saw in the preseason. Intellectual in the way that he operates. He was crashing the boards. Hell, he was like the only guy who was crashing the boards, because if you recall, as in the first quarter, as we were watching the game, the number one frustration was the fact that the Suns just weren't rebounding in any capacity. They were giving up offensive rebounds. In fact, they gave up 4 second chance points and a total of 5 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. The only offensive rebound that the Suns had in the first quarter, Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah, the only amount of effort too was just from him. Like, him coming out was just huge. Just one of those things that's kind of daunting to think, like, hey, we're going to have to rely on these rookies to kind of get us going in this game. And exactly, it was both of them, but it was mostly Oso with those big rebounds. Because at the time, it's like we couldn't rebound. We're getting so many offensive rebounds. So many, it was like 4 or 5. But it was detrimental to this offense, or to get back on offense. And then have KD and, Plumlee at the time, and even Nurk just kind of being out rebounded, our bigs that we have. So when Oso gets in there, grabs some big boards, he's very effective offensively, I feel like, too, because he's just so good. I feel like on the screens and the pick and rolls, the pick and pops, everything he does, he always has space in front of him. So he did hit his first shot with the floater. And there are a few other times, too, where their spacing was there and Tyson giving the ball is fine, but he does have that floater, the little runner, and everything he had in front of him, which was nothing. It's right there for him. So eventually in the future, he'll get more opportunity like that. So a really good game by him, man. I'm excited that he's playing this great, but I don't want this team to have to rely on these two guys and Oso to come in and kind of pick up the pieces and just rely on energy, because that's what it was tonight.
It was, but, for both him and Dunn, they played a very limited amount of time. And I think, again, I credit Coach Bud for the way that he managed his rotations, the way that outside of, I think, a run in the third quarter, I think it was the only time when you and I are like, dude, call the fucking timeout. It's the only time I said that. Whereas, back in the Monty Williams days, I'm like, dude, does this guy know he has timeouts? He can call them. He can stop opposing runs. And even Frank Vogel a little bit last year. But bringing Oso and Ryan Dunn in spurts, I think it was in the first and a little bit in the third.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good strategic way to get them playing time. And I agree with Mark N in the chat. He's like, just happy to see some rookies with potential. And both of them showcased potential when they came out. Now, Dunn had a little bit of a rougher game. We'll talk about him momentarily. But that youth movement is so vital and something that's been missing from this team for so long. A reminder, the last time that we had a rookie play in the preseason was Jalen Smith back in 2021, right? The last time we've had rookies play, it's been that long. And to have these guys come in the first game of the season, provide productive minutes, it's big, because at some point they're going to be relied on. It's like you said, I don't want to rely on them to pick up the pieces yet. None of us do. But you have to slowly develop that skill set, because there's going to be a time, it's going to be game 43. We're in Charlotte and somebody goes down, and guess what? Oso, you're next up on the depth chart. And because you've had an opportunity to develop him and build his confidence, he's going to at least give you productive minutes. It might not be great. Not every game is great. Guess what, Suns fans? If you haven't been watching basketball, not every game is great. Not every game goes to plan. Not every game is perfect. No team shoots 100%. No team grabs every rebound. No team makes every free throw consistently. And having Oso Ighodaro and Ryan Dunn get meaningful minutes this early, in game one, I was excited when I saw him, weren't you?
Yeah, because you're going to get him. You're just going to get Bradley Beal with that second unit. You're going to get him in an environment where he can just kind of do what he wants out there. You know what I mean? Because his size is just so unique. Like, he's a little bit bigger than like a Cameron Johnson, but he moves so elegantly, and he just can move around defenders and just create spacing, like I said earlier. But to rely on two guys, we'll talk about Ryan Dunn in a second. To rely on two guys that are young and to watch them develop this year, it's very exciting to be a Suns fan and that happening this year.
Absolutely. The youth movement strong, and at the same time that you have a big three and you're making a run at a championship. And then there's Ryan Dunn. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Now, Dunn wasn't as productive, I would say, or impactful as Oso Ighodaro was, but he played a total of, is it only 8 minutes?
Yeah, 8:44.
8:44. Wow.
Seemed like
He was,
more.
it felt like more, but he only scored 2 points, which was on a nice little finger roll, but he was 1 of 5 from the field and 0 of 2 from beyond the arc. He had 2 rebounds. He had 1 assist. He had 3 fouls. And he had that 1 block shot from behind, which was great. What did you see from Ryan Dunn?
I saw a lot of length, and I saw a guy in James. Maybe that's why it seems so long, because he was fouling James Harden. And
Yeah.
just those plays take forever, and then the free throws. But yeah, I saw, he does reach a lot, and he does have that length over a guy's head. And you can see that, James Harden was really using that to his advantage. You're not always going to see that, but these guys, the foul baiters like Harden and these other players that can do that, it's going to be difficult for him because they'll use his arms, his length and stuff to their advantage. So you saw that a little bit tonight, but it was a good showing. Obviously the finger roll was a great play where he cut with the guy, I forget who had the ball on the baseline, who passed it back out to him, but he was reading the play. He's like, I got to get down to the lane, help this guy out. He did finish strong. That was great to see. So like Oso, stats don't look great or anything like that, but it's a good first game for him, I feel like.
No, big time. I think that one of the most interesting things, this is Ryan Dunn's debut. And who's he guarding? A former MVP in James Harden. Like, what does that tell you, Suns fans? It tells you that Ryan Dunn is going to be the guy defensively. And when he develops and learns how to truly become a lockdown defender, where he's not getting his hand caught in the cookie jar, where he's not getting called on the rip throughs, that's a tool that the Suns have in their proverbial tool belt that they can pull out at any time. And it's exciting to see. Now, yeah, he was 0 of 2 from beyond the arc, and he was 1 of 5 overall. His first shot, he took a mid-range shot, and you could feel the nerves on his shot. Maybe he was shooting into the wall. I don't remember. But I said this during the preseason games, I like that he's taking the shots. In the preseason, he was hitting them, but at least he's taking the shots because he has to take the shots. If you know he's not going to shoot and he doesn't hit anything, then he becomes a moot point offensively. And it's going to take time to develop. But defensively, you're taking this rookie, you're throwing him right on James Harden. Like, welcome to the NBA, Rook. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Man, I'm seeing Beal stuff in here. Jay Solito says, let's hope Beal's not on the IR. What is going on? So
what's going on? Yeah, we got to check out the Twitter sphere, see what's going on Twitter.
No.
Well, he was limping, he was fouled, he tripped over himself essentially. I mean, let's see. I'm gonna take a look real quick at what Dwayne Rankin's saying, because that's always a good way to go.
Yeah,
he hasn't tweeted anything in an hour. What the hell's going on? What about Kellen?
Fine.
What's Kellen saying over
maybe
there?
they're just saying that to be dirty, just to be like, hope he's on the IR after a good game. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything either. I mean, he trips, he falls. That's what he does.
He walked off fine.
Yeah, so I think he walked off fine. He said, I'm good. I'm good. That being said, he'll be out on Friday. Any other players you want to get to before we take a trip to the subreddit?
Bro, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good with these players.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Where is she?
Super dark, dude.
It's really dark in here. Like my cell phone light on here. Let's do this. Let's add some illumination.
Illumination.
Let's do this. Watch. Where is she?
Oh, tell a spooky story.
There I was. Now this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. I want to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Well, welcome to the Subreddit Stakeout. If you've never been here before, this is a little thing that we do in which we hang out on the opposing team's subreddit during the game to hear what they're saying. I want to know how they perceive the Suns, what they think about this team, what they think about's going on in the game. And I can't show up looking like me, wearing my Suns hat and such, so I have to go in disguise. So I go as Batman. And here's what they had to say over on the Clippers subreddit. James Harden is Devin Booker's grandfather. Team looks so much better without Paul George hogging the ball the whole fucking time.
They probably felt like him, like we do about KD or something. God.
God. Budenholzer is a much better coach over Ty Lue. Interesting observation. Fuck Booker. Booker's a bitch. We all knew that. Are all the fans in the wall wearing raincoats? I couldn't tell with the lighting. Did Heaven's Gate buy out all the tickets for the wall tonight?
What's Heaven's Gate? What is that?
They're the cult that like wore all black and Nikes and took a bunch. They're like, the comments coming. We're hopping on this bitch, and like drank fucking Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah. How gnarly.
Nurkic falls over way too easily for someone that big. Not disputing the foul call there, but he's embellished throughout the game. And the last one, Nurkic is always on the fucking ground. What an annoying ass player. And that's the subreddit stakeout.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
It was interesting being on the subreddit. My hat's all fucked up now. It was interesting being on the subreddit just because they weren't talking any shit about the Suns, which is interesting for a rival, right? And the other thing is like they love Derrick Jones Jr. there, and you got to remember like Derrick Jones Jr. kind of took Paul George's spot, but man, they were just all about Derrick Jones Jr., who ended with 12 points. He was 5 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 4 rebounds and assists, 2 steals. But man, that's all they were talking about. Like I couldn't find any good Suns dirt. Now, when Friday comes around, when the Suns are playing the Lakers, and Matthew's debuting his newest disguise, subreddit stakeout, I'm sure there's going to be a few more spicy comments, don't you think?
Oh yeah, dude, totally. Little sneak peek. Who knows?
Okay.
It's gonna be a little spicy. Yeah, a lot of love sharing and stuff like that. I think that Derrick Jones, every play he was involved in was incredible. I felt like so. Well, a good addition, man.
I feel like he airballed a shot somewhere.
I don't think he did at all.
Maybe he did.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, this is a reminder, subscribe, rate, review, hit the thumbs up button at very least. Take a little effort, just hit the little thumbs up button. That's all we're asking here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. If you happen to be a listener, just rate us 5 stars on Spotify or give us a 5-star review on Apple. Give us 5, write a review. Just help us out, please. I'm a words of affirmation. That's my love language. And when you tell me I'm doing good, I feel like I'm doing good. And if you happen to be watching along live, let us know in the chat who your jam star of the game is. Matthew, while I pull up the sheet that I'm going to be tracking our jam stars on, will you let me know who your jam star of the game is?
I'm going to go with Big Dick Beal tonight.
BDB?
BDB.
Why?
There's a new BDB. I think Bradley Beal he definitely went out there and earned it. He worked really hard out there. He gave it his all, 110%. But honestly, he was hot when it mattered. I feel like the most. He had some big threes tonight when it mattered. And the way he looks with both units, it's pretty impressive. Good job, Beal.
I really, really wanted to go with Tyus because I thoroughly enjoyed watching Tyus Jones play tonight. Seeing him facilitate this offense, having that feeling of calm, because you got to remember something, Suns fans. We love point guards here in the Valley. Steve Nash, Kevin Johnson, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, Ricky Rubio, Stephon Marbury. I mean, we're used to having facilitators on this team. And when we went through what we experienced last year and we didn't have a facilitator, we felt robbed just as a fan base. So to see Tyus Jones out there facilitating in the manner that he did, man, it got me hard. But I got to go with Bradley Beal too. I think him stepping up in overtime, he flipped a switch right when we needed to have a switch flipped.
Yep.
And he helped the Suns win the game ultimately. When Devin Booker fouled out, it took him a few minutes to go, oh, shit, I'm Bradley Beal. I am. Katie, give me the ball. No? Okay. Oh, thanks, Tyus, because Katie won't give the ball to anybody. But I Bradley Beal gets my jam star of the game. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Beautiful.
All right, well, let's take a look.
Agree.
Shout out to all the Jamsters who are joining us. Let's see here. We got Lee. Lee says Jam Star is Beal. Suns Fever is going to give it to Beal as well. David Ray. Even all things considered, KD is still my pick for Jam Star of the game. Beal was great, so he's my second. Matthew, Coach Bud for Jam Star. I like that one. Just for fun because we haven't played it yet.
Play fast, play random, play together, play in great space. Let's go play some basketball. Have some fun.
Food in Holzer. Food in Holzer. Food in Holzer. Food.
Oh yeah, we're playing the whole thing.
Food in Holzer. Food in Holzer. Food in Holzer.
As I walk through this world, nothing can stop Mike Budenholzer. And you are my Budenholzer.
And no one can hurt you. Oh no.
I haven't played the whole thing in so long. It's so good. It was so hot out that day I made it. And then after I made that, I went to Angry Crab Shack and ate so much that I couldn't walk.
You deserve it. Is that why you went to go celebrate?
Yeah, I'm like, the drop is done. I'm eating it. All right. Thank you for listening to that, Jamsters. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, you're like, what the fuck is this thing? Kiko, my Jamstar is Bradley Beal because he stepped up when Booker fouled out. I agreed. CL Oracle Jamstar is Nurk because of his clutch free throws, and he won't be in contention for this award much this year, probably. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Lincoln says BB. Corey Flynn, Yo Bomber should hold and let a cat all game. All right. KD for Jay, still kind of carry, not going to lie. Royce from Thunderstand. We haven't talked about Royce O'Neal, but Royce played well coming off the bench. Bob gives it to Beal. 5 stars from Saul. Now just go do that on a Apple Podcast. Jamstar, Clippers owner, sad ass face at the home opener loss.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mike B. I like that one. Oh, pet a cat. Katie from Doji on Star 05. Bradley Beal, this is exactly what we're talking about when we say Beal needs to be that top dog in some of these games. We needed it, and I agree he delivered. Prescott Mark, or Prescott, if you're from Arizona, gives it to Beal. Bob, it would be KD if he didn't have 7 dumb-ass turnovers. Royce got a crucial blood foul. And I think that's kind of it.
Now, Tio says Big Nip
Nurk.
Nurk. That's his jam star. I love that.
That's a good one. All right. Phoenix Suns up next, playing Friday, if you didn't know. Apparently Matthew didn't. They're playing the Los Angeles Lakers, so they're staying in LA. They play over at the Staples Center against Los Angeles. Anything you're looking at in this game, anything to be worried about? Is it strange that the Suns start their season playing the Clippers, the Lakers, the Mavs, the Lakers, the Clippers?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. But going to this game, you don't have to worry about Bronny. I think he played his minutes limit this season, so we have to worry about that happening.
Get him out in the G League.
Yeah, no, I think it's a tough stretch. But what's great is kind of you want to see where this team is after 10 games or even 15 games. So to have the first 5 be that difficult, even the Clippers without the Paul George who's gone or Kawhi Leonard, it's fine. Like they're still a strong defensive unit. They're still a good, okay team. So to have that much power up front, let's do it, dude. And going to the next game, though, it's going to be interesting how Anthony Davis handles himself after giving me 63 points in fantasy. I did lock that in, John. He might have another 63 points or even more against the Suns team. He was absolutely incredible. And it was funny. I just want to say after the game, he did mention, he's like, this is the first time a LeBron thing happened and they won a game. Like,
yeah, it's true.
Anytime he's done anything with that team, they've always lost. So they won their first game, looked pretty dominant. So JJ Redick looks like he has a team ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting playing this team because obviously we saw them twice in the preseason. Winning one, losing one, doesn't really matter. Obviously, the second one, we saw Dalton Connect go crazy, and hopefully we don't have to see that again. But Anthony Davis is the key in this game because Nurkic, as we mentioned before, can be played off the court, and he has a hard time with Anthony Davis. The way that I think Nurk needs to play is understand that Mason Plumlee plays behind him, and that's the guy we didn't even talk about tonight because Plum Dog played pretty good.
Yeah,
and probably he's not going to get a lot of opportunities to play his drop, but we should have probably played it for him tonight. But he's got Plum Dog behind him. He's got Oso behind him. You just got to throw everything you can at Nurk and just try and hope that, or you got to throw everything at Anthony Davis and just hope that it works. So the thing I noticed about Anthony Davis, and you're going to find this out because he's on your fantasy team. He was on my fantasy team last year. He doesn't put a lot of quality games together. He does like one or two a week, which is great for fantasy because the way that we play fantasy is if he has a good game, you can lock it in. And it's like he had 63 fantasy points the other day. You lock it in. That's his point total for the week. And so once a week, he'd get you like 50 points. But all of his other games are a bunch of 20-somethings. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays and how the Suns attack and what they've learned from game one. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So Jamsters will be live on Friday night right after that. It's going to be an interesting one because that is also game one of the World Series. Fun fact for those who don't know, I'm a Dodgers fan. Matthew's a Yankees fan. So it's going to be, and I'm pissed because I want to wear my Dodgers hat, but we're playing LA, so I can't do it on the show.
Well, I mean, Book wore his LA shoes, so maybe you can wear your LA hat.
See how pissed I got about it?
Yeah.
I got about it. But make sure you join us live. I don't know if we're going to do a playback. Are we doing a playback for that one?
That's going to be a tough one, I think.
Yeah, with the World Series going on, I'm going to be on
I can
edge.
have it on and just be muted and no camera.
Yeah, maybe we'll do
go.
that. Maybe we'll do that. But definitely tune into the podcast after the game. We'll be right here all season long. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name is John Voida, managing editor, Bright Side of the Sun. You can read all my writing there, including the game recap, which just ended. You can go read my words there. Matthew, senior staff writer for for Bright Side of the Sun. You can't follow him on Twitter because he didn't go on it for 30 days, and Elon said, "Get the fuck out of here." So, on that note,
better off.
Yes, I wish I was so lucky. Matthew, tell them what they can do.
Go love your family.